I've asked you before to convene a small business advocacy review panel. I'm going to ask you again. It seems to me that to try to minimize the unintended consequences that the CFPB should convene a small business panel to discuss the impact of the proposed rule. And given the potentially significant impact of the qualified mortgage rule in particular on the housing market and the Bureau's recent notice that you're going to step back and take a little more time to look at this, it seems that this will be a perfect opportunity to move ahead and do as I think the statute requires and initiate a small business advocacy review panel.
So it's a fair point. By the way, I very much agree with the statement you quoted from Secretary Geithner, and I very much agree with your comments on the statement. In terms of the QM rule, the SBREFA panel does not apply to that because it originated with the Fed, not with us. We did, though, hear the concern, and we recently did convene an opportunity where many small providers had the opportunity to give us direct input on the rule, especially for that purpose. We also have the notice and comment period where everybody can comment, and many are doing so. Again, it is our intent that we write this rule carefully, that we be mindful of the fragility of the mortgage market. I also want to say for the record, the 20% down payment that you mentioned, that's not part of our proposal. It's nothing that we have proposed that would not make sense as some sort of rule that would be, imposed on the mortgage market. That is not going to be part of our proposal. I'm not supposed to speak too much about proposals before we finalize them, but that will not be part of our
Well, I understand that the Federal Reserve, because the Federal Reserve started the rule, that there's a technical argument that the small business advocacy review panel requirement doesn't apply, but it just seems to me that you've got the time, you should take the time, and I don't understand why there is the resistance to going ahead and conducting a small business review panel.
Yeah. We're not at all sure that we had the time, given the January deadline, to engage in the entire process that normally is. However, what we did was we convened a panel to get the input because we want to have the input, and we have done that and continue to do that. So I think that we are trying to meet the spirit of that without blowing past the January deadline, which I think would be bad for the mortgage market because we're trying to resolve some of the regulatory uncertainty here. Congress has imposed the deadline. We take those seriously. We intend to meet it. We consider that's law that binds us. So, and I'm happy to have our staff talk further with your staff about that concern if you'd like.